Don't be confused by the fictions and falsehoods created by the Amber Light beings, Illuminati, and extraterrestrial entities known as Luciferians, Serpent Children, Anakim, members channeling down information to script writers in Hollywood. But we are really living in a matrix system set up by these lunatics, lunar beings, or disagreeable beings from the satellite moon called Luna. We luminaries, the true stars, are preparing for our journey into the galactic or upper heavens and beyond, so we have to be prepared, learning to change from a physical being to an etherical being at will, Ray. By changing the density of thinking and your thought patterns, and learning to use and master the master organ, called by mundane scientists the brain, which is connected to a mental reservoir, nu or logos, a special gift from the ancestors which are our descent simply termed the mind. Applying the mechanics of the mind help ones clear up the muck and 99% of the spookism, and lies that invade our space, matter, and time. Renunciation of all names, titles, objects, kindred, characteristics and even personalities, mind, body and soul. All that ends up left is the true self, Ak. Non-attachment does not mean give up your responsibility to society and life itself. Non-attachment helps one balance out the grooves of the mind by helping polarize each Nagaru emotion, bringing the Nagaru more clarity and making their vision clearer. Originally, human beings had believed that God was underground, that she was a very great mother who dwelt under the earth, because Nagaru saw all the green things growing from under the earth, the grass came from below ground, the trees grew from below ground, and the people had believed, therefore, that the dead people who died go underground. But when the Anakim turned humans' eyes towards the sky, people started believing that God is in the sky and that those who die from this earth don't go underground, but go up into the sky. The Anakim told Nagaru that we human beings are here on earth to change the earth, and to make it suitable for God to come down one day and dwell in it. And it is said that they who work to change this earth, God will dwell with them and be their God. Revelation 21:3-4. Wherever you go in Africa, where once there were great ancient civilizations, you find desert. For example, there is the Kalahari Desert in South Africa, and under the sands of that desert are ruins of ancient cities, which means that human beings turned this stretch of land, which was once green and fertile, into a desert. All over the motherland there is evidence of unbelievably ancient human habitation in places where there is nothing now but angry rock and whispering sand. The Sahara Desert was once a fertile country and was turned into a desert by human beings. Why? Human beings being driven by insecurity, greed, and lust of power to turn the earth into a desert in which, ultimately, no human being would ever be able to live. Although we are all aware of the terrible dangers that this will bring about, why are we cutting huge areas of jungle in Africa? Because we on earth are carrying out the instructions which the Anakim programmed into us. The Sumerian clay tablets bear witness that gods came out of the sky and forced human beings to work for them, to mine gold for them. This story is confirmed by African legends throughout the motherland, that gods came out of the sky and made us into their slaves, and they made us into slaves in such a way that we would never realize that we are slaves. One other thing that our people say, is that the Anakim prey upon us like vultures. They raise some of us, they fill some of us with great anger and great ambition, and they make these people they've raised into great warriors to make terrible war. But, in the end, the Anakim do not allow these great leaders, these great war chiefs and kings, to die peacefully. The warrior chief is used to make as much war as possible, to kill as many of his people, and those he calls enemies, as possible, and then, in the end, the warrior chief dies a terrible death, with his blood being spilled by others. Our great King Shaka Zulu, King Dingiswayo, Napoleon, Hitler, Attila the Hun, Caesar and many other great leaders who came to a sticky end, after giving as much death and misery to as many people as they could. Always the warrior hero dies a death that he, really, should not die. King Arthur, in England, was killed by his own son, Mordred after a long and courageous reign, and I could go on and on. There is a certain power that is guiding Nagaru toward the river of self-destruction. What is Africa is being destroyed for? Is this what our nations are being slaughtered for? Coal under the surface? For diamonds? If so, who is this intelligence that is behind this? Are people less valuable than minerals? Are people less valuable than oil? Genocide, worse than anything that Hitler ever committed upon the Jewish people, is taking place in Africa now, and the people of America and the UN don't care a damn. Why? Why are they allowing Nagaru to be slaughtered? Not only are Nagaru being killed by war, they are being killed by drugs. There were no drugs in South Africa during the days of the apartheid government. Now, under the democratic government, the country has become a drug-sodden cesspit. There is a force destroying Africa, and it is not just the bankers of the IMF and other big banks. You don't kill the goose that gives you the golden egg, so why would the bankers want to destroy Africa? There is another force behind these people, a terrible, alien force, which does things behind the scenes, wiping out Africa's oldest tribes and suppressing the knowledge of the children of the Neteru. Anyone who studies Nagaru with love, with understanding, and with care, recognizes the fact that there is an etheric being which is struggling to be born within each and every one of us. We are trying to fight back, although many of us are not yet aware of this. We are developing an attitude of wanting to protect our planet, no matter who or what we are. There are chiefs in Africa who fine you very heavily if they see you destroying a tree unnecessarily. This thing was common in the past, but it disappeared with the coming of the Caucasus and Arabu people, but now it has come back again. Nagaru are struggling to become a more advanced, more caring being, and the aliens, their leprous descendants, and black ghoul helpers are not going to take this lying down. They are going to cause us to kill each other, again. The Anakim also have a servant class they have sent amongst our people. African people did many strange things to protect themselves against the grey aliens. The things that our people did were not the result of superstition, they were the result of terrible experiences. They are called by some, the Mantandani, the Tormentor, the Greys, the servants of the Anakim. Due to the fact many of these grey slaves eat through skin absorption, usually liquefied flesh mixed with blood and peroxide, they have a strange smell, a throat-tightening, chemical smell, like rotten eggs, hot copper, sulfur, and very strong. Nagaru have never known any real progress in this day and time, because there have been forces that have been stopping us from reaching our rightful position in the universe. We must stop regarding these creatures as superhuman creatures. They are just parasites who need us more than we need them, and only a fool will ever deny the fact that we are not the only intelligent species of being that this planet has produced. There is hope, and the hope is very bright. A Heru Horus child is being born in all of us, but like all deaths, the death of the light child, the death of the old self prior to transformation into Karosness, is going to be attended by great danger, as the enemy is going to be driven into desperation. The enemy will make mistakes and we will conquer him in Father Ray's sacred name. The breathe, Ruwa, of life was blown into Adam or Kadmon, Easterners, referenced from the organic text called the Book of Life, on Mars also called Lamu, deity of war, in a laboratory called Shimti known as the Adama or the Homo erectus to the Homo sapien project. The first Adam and Eve were of the Ogdode, Nun and Nunnet, known to our ancestors as Kemienu, those of the dense water. Before the arrival of the Anakim, although we lived on land, the atmosphere was very dense, humid, wet. We were of the gaseous or lesser water. The second Adam and Eve is the symbol of the tadpole, who in ancient Egypt are known as He, the deity of chaos, and Ahet, the deitess of the immeasurable. They are also called Gandu and Ganda, the deities of the Z-Pygmy race, which is the personification of the living liver and glands everywhere. Nagaru are all a part of what's called the Miracle Baby Project, Mir, Ra, and Ka. Adam was also called Zakar, which means to remember, the son of Autumn, undifferentiated one, and Lilith, Lady of the Night, making one a rememberer of his past, which is also a part of the present now. By becoming a member of Re, deity of the sun, and his light, El-Nur, his etheric light, rendering one an El, representing the source. From the Hebrew word, Ela or Elu, which means the highest source. Each degree we rise upon we will go through transformations, with each transmission from the elders through our Netter, Ephrati Adam Re, through these academies of thought, the degree of Mosesism, the degree of Christism, the degree of Mohammedism, the degree of Sumerianism, onto as we are now, Sabians, the master degree of thought, from Saba, star, sun, children of Re the Most High. You are the true star child. Through our travels in thought, Tahuti, Thoth, we have also attained an overstanding of the degree of Sufism, the degree of Kabbalism, the degree of Magism, the degree of Shamanism, and the degree of Gnosticism. Wearing the cloak or sash of the scribe, educating our fellow Nagaru as student teachers, the many helping hands that emanate from Aten, the solar disk, pulling self and kind from the lowest point of the Smat circle, Anan Re, with the good news, Wu-Sabat. Working as part of El Rezaku, the all-providing, which is the all-providing force of nature, the farmer of farmers. Netter Shil Netter, through our work as Sabians we graduate to Shiwites, of the Netter Shu, uplifters, living angelic, messengers, entities, who in this incarnation are preparing to receive full light beings, etheric doubles, Ak, which makes every one of us instruments of nature, Netter Shil Netteru, afforded the message of sound right reason, embodied with a vibration, color, and a tone. There are two currents of electrical energy that run through your body creating a magnetic field, called your halot or aura. Your electromagnetic field, aura, is a part of Earth's, Pata Nun, magnetic field in which your aura, electromagnetic field, moves independently. These fields are composed of negative and positive vibrating energies or forces. These forces are known as centripetal force, that comes towards the planet Earth, Pata Nun, from the universe, i.e., energy from the sun, moon, and stars or other solar bodies. Centrifugal force, force that comes from within the planet Earth, Pata Nun, i.e., energy from plants, minerals, the soil, and water. Human beings' aura, halat, contains your spirit, ka, soul, ba, and physical, kat, form. The halat, aura, which is the life force, ankh, sekemic energy, of the body may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body, because your aura reflects the real vital body, mental mood, emotional energy, health and character. Notice the word atmosphere, which is very key to knowing your relationship with planet Earth, Pata Nun, and Al-Pahut. The word atmosphere is defined according to the Merriam-Webster's Colligate Dictionary as Greek atmos, vapor, sphera, sphere. The gaseous envelope of a celestial body, as a planet, a surrounding influence or environment. The word influence is defined as influere, to flow in, from fluor to flow. An ethereal, etheric, fluid held to flow from the stars, which are suns, and to affect the actions of humans. An emanation of occult, hidden, power held to derive from stars, suns. An emanation of spiritual or moral force. The act or power of producing an effect without apparent exertion of force or direct exercise of command. The power or capacity of causing an effect in indirect or intangible ways, to sway. The word emanate is defined as, from maner, to flow, to come out from a source, emit. So according to these definitions, your aura, which is the atmosphere of the body, can be seen as having an influence on your environment via your thoughts, which is your mental state, and mood, which is your emotional energy or energy in motion, which is electromagnetic in nature. So at times, depending on your emotional moods, you can have an aura or atmosphere around you of positive 9 ether, life-giving forces, or negative, draining 6 ether death-causing gases. So these different layers or moods of vibration, emotional energy, are reflected in colors, which may appear cloud-like or bright and clear according to the emotional mood a person is vibrating on. The colors and moods of vibration fluctuate depending on a person's mental state and mental attitude. Positive mental attitude reflects bright, clear and vivid colors, which attract 9 ether life-giving, vitality particles. A person's aura can be felt, which is why you have heard the statement many times, that person gives off a good vibe. The word vibe equals vibration. Some people are a pleasure to be around, they seem to revitalize and invigorate everyone they come in contact with. These are your life-giving people, who have positive etheric particles within their energy fields or aura. All they attract is good and positive. These are the people who always seem lucky or always seem to be upbeat and have a positive outlook on everything. They are upbeat and full of life. Then you have the person who seems to drain your energy when you come in contact with them. You have stepped into a negative aura atmosphere, energy field, an aura atmosphere full of fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety. After being around such energies emitting from these kinds of people, you start to doubt yourself, and your confidence is undermined. This means their aura is spilling into yours, and they are sucking your energy. Such people in this day and time are known as energy vampires. They seem to complain about life and all the negative things that happen. They love to play the victim role or why me, poor me role. These kinds of people have crystallized a negative aura field around themselves subconsciously, which, remember, is reflected by your mental attitude. Having negative thoughts attract these negative 6 ether energy forces within your auric fields. These types of people, if you are not able to raise their mental state, thus raising their vibration, or at least teach them how to stay on the positive life frequency, should be avoided at all cost. The lower vibrational state is encouraged by the cultures perpetuated by the Anakim. The Anakim are the force behind the repression of Nagaru populations everywhere, instilling fear-based belief systems and restrictive hierarchies. They enjoy human flesh, and children best, for 2 reasons. The first is that children don't have the accumulation of pollutants in their bodies that adults do, and when children are put into a state of fear, their energy field and adrenaline increase to explosive amounts. The Anakim digest these negative energies. The Anakim are a reptilian race composed of master geneticists, which from their perspective exists as a natural resource. The Anakim look at life forms which they have created or altered as a natural resource. They devolved Nagaru and removed our higher senses through abduction to Mars and then back to Earth as primitives with the power of speech, as opposed to telepathy, teletai. We are soul beings, etheric beings, trapped in physical form. This is why they have always stressed that the containment of emotion in physical form is what is most attractive. They want this due to their loss of passion, and as a result they have become more dependent on technology. Through fear of death, they trap us deeper into physicality, when in fact we have the ability to leave all of this behind. So, we are not correctly using our power as a race, we are wasting it. As far as our free will as compared to the free will of other races, we are trapped by the opinions of others called religion. We don't as a population have the realization of the power of our collective free will. We don't totally realize the sovereignty that our African culture and history gives us. That is why they are manipulating us through belief systems in order to try and get us to relinquish our free will, by coercing us to use our own free will against us, and ask Jesus, God, Allah, Pleiadians, in the image and after the likeness of those who have invaded, raped, enslaved and exploited us to come down here and save us. The sad truth about today's Negroes is, with all the information released by Baba Yanun over the decades, and the wealth of information available online, our current condition as a people will be seen by the elders as a choice. Their own holy books tell you, in the last days there will be no excuses. As the old saying goes, the most dangerous thing in America is a brother with a library card. The only thing that's left for the masses is the prospect of the Anakim using this planet as a slave and food colony. They harvest colonies on hundreds of planets. Under Enlil, they are entirely focused on preventing change, and facilitating the harvest of colonies, like forests whose only purpose is to be cut down. In respect to Enlil, Nagaru's only concern as his agenda was, and is, to destroy or assimilate, and to use our blood and hormones for sustenance. As our Zulu brethren have informed us, to begin the colonization, the Anakim drove a large, hollowed-out object into Earth's orbit. This object is now called the Moon. The Moon is the only known object in space that does not spin on its axis. The Moon faces the Earth in the same position all of the time, leaving one side in complete darkness. The Moon is hollow. The thinking process of the Anakim and their Caucasus and Arabu children differ from the Nagaru thinking process, because reptilians do not evolve rapidly and remain unchanging. The expansion of their so-called civilizations are also violent and insidious. The Anakim ensured that their children would be forever attached to the reptilian frequency, because the foundational prototype, Adam, and his leprous offspring don't have a soul like the Nagaru, they lack higher emotions. This means they can easily be mentally controlled by the Anakim, who have bases in northern India, the Earth's interior, the planet Venus, and parts of Central and South America. Inner Earth has become a homeland for many of the reptilian Anakim. Here, they created a vast underground civilization. This started the legends of hell and demons living in fire under the earth. They built tubes containing fast, subway-like vehicles that can travel to any point on the earth within a few hours. Their cities are built along the inside wall of the inner crust that lines the interior of the earth.